Six, five, four, three, two, one, go.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Crypto Night Show. Your host Superman in the house, and we've got our second show today. It's a big one though. We're going to be interviewing the team of True DeFi and TRU2X. So hope you guys enjoy it. We've got a great bunch of guys from the team there going to show us through it, and hopefully by the end of it, we'll have a great understanding of the TRU2X project that's coming up very, very soon. It's going to be a lot of alpha drops in the session, so I hope you guys enjoy that too. And this project could be pretty big. So we're going to find out just how big with the team. So without further ado, don't forget to get any questions into the chat that you might have for the team, and also share the channel around as well on X and hit the repost button as well. So it'll be a lot of fun. We've got a few people in the house there. Hexecutioner, good to see you. Welcome. Definitely like and share. We've got Spider in the house there. Nice. And let's keep going. So yeah, get your questions in there. And let's meet the team. So big welcome, everybody.
Nice. What's up, guys?
Hello. Hi.
Everyone's looking good. Everyone's looking good there. And we've got our Daniel with his angel halo at the bottom there. So good to see you, Dan. So Hexecutioner, welcome. Neil, welcome. And RipCity as well. Big welcome to the channel. And looking forward to hearing about TRU2X. I wanted to kick off, as I said before we started, just a little bit about yourselves. So maybe kick it off with Hexecutioner down the bottom there. And we go to Neil, Daniel, and then RipCity. How about that?
That'll work. Thanks for having us. Appreciate it. I'm Hexecutioner. Some of you guys may know me. I've been in the Pulse Chain ecosystem since day one. I've been with Richard Hart and his ecosystem previous to that. I teach people about liquidity. I'm an admin in a lot of other types of cryptos, like Alex's Hedron and Icosa and a couple other things. So I know some stuff.
Nice. Neil?
Yeah, I'm Neil T-Shares. I've been around the Richard Hart ecosystem since before Pulse Chain with hacks and stuff. And been around, been kind of dived into the DeFi space. That's kind of my niche. I've been going through, and I do a lot of strategy work. I do a lot of, yield production studies and analysis on chain, looking at how to use DeFi products to make good yield consistently. And I met Daniel a while back, and we kind of talked about putting this together. And then after a whole lot of discussions and back and forths, and light bulb moments, we are here today. Thanks for his leadership.
Yeah, fantastic. I've seen Neil around. I've seen you around a lot, Neil. So big welcome to the show. Daniel, a little bit about yourself, founder and navigator. I like that in the title there.
Hello, hi. Thanks for having us. Yeah, similar to Neil's IRL, I'm also from traditional business. That's my background. Joined a couple of years ago crypto. A couple of years, it's now 10 years probably. Basically paid my dues like everyone else, and until we paid less, until we made a little gains, and until we learned everything, or a lot of things, being a Bitcoin miner, not for whole blocks, but still. And from the beginning on Pulse Chain, and we see the need for new products, new services, and we believe that we found something adequate.
Absolutely. That sounds great. RipCity?
What's up, guys? Yeah, RipCity, been around since, I was thinking about it today, November 20, believing in, finding Richard Hart, believing in everything that he stood for, his mantra, who he was, what he was doing. Obviously, rolled right into Pulse Chain. I've been a true believer since the beginning, been around a while, made some good decisions, I believe. It's kind of weird where we're all at right now. I mean, we're here. We've been here. The people that are gone have been shaken out, and it's not. It's like I'm honored to be the envoy of True DeFi and be here with these guys that I believe in, I trust in. And that's kind of what crypto's been for me is like making good decisions, getting getting connected with people that believe in the same things that you do, and finding that trust in people. And I think I believe 100% that I found it with the people here at True DeFi. I believe that this protocol and what they're doing is going to make all the bad decisions that we've made in the past 5 years go away. And so
Yeah.
I'm grateful to be here, you guys. Thank you for inviting me. I honestly, I'm not sure how I landed here, but I am truly grateful. So appreciate it. Thank you.
And fantastic. Good to have you, RipCity.
Well,
Now, I guess you've got this TRU2X project, which we're going to deep dive into a little bit here in discussion. What's kind of the reason for doing this? I mean, not what it is, but why? Why do it? Is probably the way I want to head with that. Anyone else?
Let me get there, because it is a result of a need. I was involved in tailoring and designing several platforms, and usually these are hourglass protocols. This is where I came from, and at times they get abandoned by the founders, and after a while, and I felt, as an admin, always felt responsible for what I was saying to people as an admin. So I was conveying the message, but at the end, the message wasn't true anymore, because the protocol could not keep up with, the tokenomics couldn't keep up with the expectations that people had. And so I was very dedicated to find external revenue, because I found out that is the only thing that hourglass models need is a tiny little bit of external revenue. And that is basically the origin idea. What it turned out to be is far from an hourglass. It is far from anything that we ever heard. It is an invention which is based on external revenue generation. And for some reason, all the moving parts fit together like a beautiful mosaic from Pompeii. What we see now is a functioning, sustainable 2x model for users, and a perpetual dividend function for token platforms, token communities all over crypto, not only on Pulse Chain. So we believe that we can pull economic energy, users, attraction to Pulse Chain and to the protocol, and serve a new function, a new tokenomics function to all token communities across crypto.
So I guess to summarize it up a little bit, you're really wanting to create a product that's investable rather than some of these hourglasses, ROI protocols, pump and dumps, etc. You're trying to create something that's really something that people can actually invest in for over a period of time, and as you said earlier, double your pulse in it.
Yeah, actually, it was not. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It was never intended to become a revenue protocol itself for users. It was actually intended to become a source for external revenue.
Revenue, yeah. Okay.
And at the end, it turns out, okay, then give it to users. But initially, it was not intended to be a user-driven revenue model. It is actually a revenue-driven source for other platforms. That was the initial intention to develop what we developed.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, I've been talking about this a lot recently. Is that I'd love to see like at least half a dozen good blue chip investment protocols on Pulse Chain that are revenue driven in themselves. But the alternative for that is investing in other protocols that bring revenue in. That's your secondary model, right? Which is kind of, I feel, where you guys are sitting in, which I think is exciting. And so you guys are really offering something investable, I think, for investors to get into on Pulse Chain and really mature Pulse Chain as well at the same time. Sounds like that. Anyone else got any comments on the why, the vision they want to add into that before we move on to what it is?
There's no token.
There's no token. Yeah, so that's different, right? So we'll talk about some of those things because that's pretty neat. So let's talk about what it is. Let's deep dive into TRU2X. Someone want to give us a bit of a breakdown of the basics of TRU2X?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll tackle it. Yeah. So basically, we start with an auction house model in the system. And as users participate, they go to the auction house and they make deposits, and those deposits are bidding for shares in the system. And that's basically an allocation tool for the dividends they'll be earning in the future. And they make the deposits, then they can deploy their miners the next day. We work on a 24-hour cycle, so every 24 hours, the thing resets, allow the next day's actions to take place. And then after on the second day, somebody just basically deploy. On the third day, start earning revenue in the form of dividends in their miners. So these miners then work in the system. They stay. They mine the pulse from the mining pool until they reach a 2x. That's all they can earn. And because we have a token and because we limit it to 2x, we can ensure that people who come into the system will, and we can always say we can guarantee you will get your 2x because of our outside revenue source that helps sustain the overall system mechanics. There's some other things we have that support this as well, but in a nutshell, that's pretty much it. There's four basic steps. You deposit, you deploy, you earn your dividends, and you exit at 2x. There's not much more for a user to do if they just want a low activity investment concept. Now, if you can compound if you want, there's a bunch of options about compounding, referral program, all this other stuff. But in a nutshell, that's pretty much it. And if users want to participate, they just deposit a pulse and get a 2x pulse out. So it's very simple for the user's sake. Now, for the protocols, they have outside revenue coming in. I guess Dave will talk about that a little bit more. The integration.
Yeah, let's pause there on that because I think you've brought up the first part of it. So there's going to be an auction. That's the way I understand it. You're going to be able to put your pulse in that auction to get yourself some shares. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then, but you also talked about having a miner in there. So how do they relate? That's what I got lost on that connection.
Okay. So after you make your deposit and your deposit goes into the mining the deployed field for the miners, and then you can then take that deposit and turn it into a miner and deploy it to the mining pool. So your deposit becomes a miner on the second day, and then those are deployed into the system to start earning dividends from the mining pool.
Okay, all right, it's clear. All right. So the second part, of course, is you get this pulse going into the system, as it were, into the auction, into the miners, activating, and then what do you do with the pulse? So that's the second part. So where does it go? How does it get allocated?
Yeah, we have basically split up in three batches, which some of them have some secondary, tertiary movements, but 80% of the pulse that goes in the system goes in the mining pool. So all deposits, 80% of every deposit and every compound goes right back to the mining pool.
Okay.
Now 14% goes to our overall SRE/1XR miners, and that's what is used to generate both volume and outside yield into the system. And 6% goes to overhead costs to keep the system up and running, server costs, etc., stuff like that.
Okay. So could you deep dive a little bit in those first two components, just flesh that out a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. So every time somebody makes a deposit or they compound, which becomes a new deposit, 80% of that goes into the mining pool, and those dividends are then paid out to the users. That's the bulk of where the pulse is.
So is that user driven then, that aspect of it?
Partly.
Yeah.
Partly, but only at the beginning. Because what we're doing is that 14%. This is what helped it solve a lot of the problems. Because if you was solely user driven, it would go to zero because somebody would be left over the back, right? So we had to come up with a solution. So we used the SRE funds, which is the strategic reserve engine, which is outside revenue earned outside the TRU2X, is brought back in as fresh capital to ensure that people. That's how we can guarantee you will get your 2x. That's one aspect. The second is the 1XR miner class, which is called system miners sometimes. And these are internal miners, and these miners only go to a 1x, meaning they only deposit, go to 1x, and they leave. So they're taking any yield from everybody else. So they act benevolently, you see. And so they just rotate over and over again. And because every deposit from every day goes into these systems, both the 1XR minor class and the SRE get bigger and bigger every day. What happens is, if you look, we have a chart, we showed this, that the system will basically have the SRE, the 1XRs, and even the integration amplifier with the protocols. They will contribute more to the system than the actual users will in total. So the
Quick.
users will be a smaller and smaller part of the system overall, percentage wise.
That's into the future. Then is what you're saying
Not
over
too
time.
far, but it's not too
Too
far
far.
either.
Yeah.
It won't take too long for this to ramp up. The way we've designed the mechanics behind the scenes, we designed where I would say within the 30 to 45 days, we'll have a big impact with those systems.
All right. Well, let's pause on that thought for the moment, because that's kind of a next question. But actually, the 14% and the 80%, how did you decide that allocation?
I don't know. I think it was just we would just there's a lot of back and forth math. I think Daniel and I and others we just were
Mhm.
just talking what's the best math wise, to make it work.
So
I don't know if there's anything like specific.
intuitively, to me, it sounds like a good percentage. The other number I have in my head is a 70-30. And so I'm just wondering how you came to 14%. It's kind of
Well, we had to
Indeed.
have overhead costs. That our issue is we have expenses. We have to pay for those too. So it's like, well,
yeah, okay. Yeah.
if 20% is out, it's not in the money pool. Someone's
Mhm.
earning some of his expenses, then we can go from there.
You put these percentages in the modeling. You've decided, sort of gave an estimate how you're going to get returns. And I think we actually had the results in the last monster thread, which was pretty cool. So in terms of the 14%, you're going to be allocating that in other protocols that are earning yield. Have you got some sort of what will they be, and do you have some rules around how that happens, and a risk trade off? How does that work?
Yeah. Well, we're not going to do anything risky. No risky trades, no arbitrage or anything like that.
Yeah.
Vouch will be one of the systems we use heavily using VPLS because it's safe, as well as EMIT.
Oh, Vouch. Okay, cool. Yep, Vouch. Okay, that's top notch. Yep. And any others that you've got on the list at the moment?
Yeah, EMIT is another
EMIT?
one.
Yep.
Yep. And then we'll probably use other LP yield producers like 2X, Todd, and others. We'll look at depositing some of that LP.
All right, so they're all pretty top tier ones that are pretty proven and earning nice yields. Yep, cool. All right, that answers that one. Probably be the biggest question I had out of all of them so far. And so then you've got the 8%. Oh, so actually, what have we got coming up? We've got Volt coming up as well. Would that be another candidate? Volt, the multi-chain liquidity fork from Fast Abdul.
Yeah, Vault.
Would that be another potential candidate that allocation might go into, or are you going to do too many? How many do you do? Do you do 3? Do you 5? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to. That's really to be determined based upon the math. I have to look at the math because with Vault, with any liquidity fork, you have to be careful because there's always you can be redeemed against, or you suffer liquidation events. So we don't want to put these funds in jeopardy. So be really, really careful where we put them.
Yeah,
really think about these things.
But I think that the ones that you've mentioned are all pretty good. So I'd feel pretty confident. In fact, probably high confidence with that, particularly where Pulse is at the moment as well. Okay, cool. And will you guys have like investment management reviews every month or something? How does that work? In terms of that 14%, which is kind of the key to the sustainability and the payouts of the 2X, right? Is what you're telling me.
Yeah. On a daily basis, not on a monthly.
On a daily basis. On a daily basis. Okay. Wow.
What you need to do, what you need to consider, or what the audience also needs to consider is first, we are coming from traditional business and finance or business, and that means we are taking things very serious and running it through the spreadsheets as long as it takes until we find a good ratio. So there is nothing over the thumb. The 14% is a result. It's not an estimation. Why we chose 14%. And post-chain is relatively thin on offers. Yeah, we can generate yield here and there, but we still need to see how can we add ourselves to the ecosystem of yield production. At the end of the day, we have for every 100,000 deposit, which can be several 100,000 per day, or it can be 100,000 within a few days.
Hmm.
However, for every 100,000 deposit volume, we need to find yield production platforms that can swallow 14,000 additional dollar per day,
Hmm.
because every day's deposit increased 14%, the need for 14% to be deposited somewhere for yield production. So now do this for 10 days, do this for 50 days, do it for 100 days. And you're coming to a limit on post chain, of course. And I think we have excellent prerequisites here and excellent properties on the chain when it comes to block speed, time, um, transaction fees in general. So we have to focus on adding to the yield production
Hmm.
ecosystem ourselves over time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that point needs to be looked at almost daily or
So
every other day.
uh, it kind of logically follows that if you're kind of a reinforcement project in some ways, then those projects you invest in want to be reinforcement as well. In other words, reinvesting back into their systems, and the ones that you mentioned do that. So that's and we're at the bottom pulse as well, and it's a marketing. So that all works out pretty well.
Actually, you're right. Actually, that's an encouragement for potential yield farm builders.
Mhm.
Build more yield farms, set them up. We
Yeah.
have the volume, you have the APR, and users will celebrate that.
So that
So that
raises
means
two questions. That raises two questions. So one is that you've got Emmett at the moment that has a very balanced model of emissions, and it's worked very well on the whole, I think, and a lot of collaborations, etc. on that. And then you have new farms that can often have are just big rises in the short term, and then they just end up dying pretty quickly, sometimes within a week, right? So you got those choices are pretty interesting. So you're not, from what I've heard so far, you're not really going into that second camp. You're not going into that second camp to try and make high yields. You're going in the reinforcement camp where these utilities are earning incomes. They're also self-reinforcing themselves, either burning or reinvesting into earning more money, like vouchers doing, etc. So you go. That's kind of the direction, the conservative direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, we got a few comments in the chat there before I ask you my next question. And if you guys got watching, you got any questions, definitely get them in there. We'll get the team to answer those. We're lucky to have the team all here right now. And so let's got a couple of comments here. We've got Peter White now. Enjoy your show. Thank you very much. Striker now said, let's go. TRU2X. Welcome to the stream. Like, share, and subscribe. Definitely wonderful content. Appreciate that. We've got MBS Crypto and from the Monster Thread in the house. Howdy, legends. Hope you're all having a great day. Peter says, find a need and solve the problem. Absolutely. And this is, for those that watch my show, this is kind of what I've regularly been talking about, is getting investable type of projects on the Pulse chain. And Pulse chain desperately needs it for the maturity of the chain, regardless of what Richard Hart or anybody else is doing. It needs that from the community. SMO in house there. This will be huge, says Peter. You all don't have enough pulse. We got Rizal in house there, TRU2X launch time. Well, we'll get to that later on. We don't want to rush that one. The team really balances each other out and their individual strengths. Yeah, that's definitely showing up in the stream today. Awesome stuff. So welcome, Hero, to the chat there. And once again, get any questions you have as well in there. So my next question, following on from that, the 14% allocation and the type of protocols that you've been going, which are all reinforcements. I think this is you're maximizing your protocol. I think that's great. Is what sort of yield do you need then, therefore, from these, and how fast? Now you've done some modeling. It was in the last Monster Thread. Could you just sort of explain a little bit about what yield that you need to do over any particular time frame on that one?
Well,
what's
there's no magic number there that because a lot of yield is a variable, right? So it's really hard to say I get a static APY on any particular system. think about how two Fox or Tideworks or all of these pools. The more we deposit, the lower the yield gets in APY
Mm-hmm.
terms.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a limit we can do in certain things. So we have to be really careful which pools we use and stuff like that. So these are things we're looking at. Now, EMIT, for instance, though, because they are reflexive, they end up getting higher APRs because through deposit volume. So we could probably really lean on them a lot for the yield that comes out of that because as we deposit 14,000 that comes in on this regular basis, that's a chunk going through EMIT.
Mm-hmm.
So you just imagine what EMIT's going to do as our SRE interacts with it and you provide LP and stakes and all these things. So it's going to be interesting. The ballots, obviously, because of the VPLS, we'll end up using it, and using it as a LP and hold the VPLS and then eventually go back and, take our yield from that and then deposit that back in the system. Probably by every 30 days or so, or a good chunk and bring it in. That's usually what we'll have to do to bring that.
All right. So I guess let me rephrase my question a little bit then is that if you're coming into the auctions, you're getting miners set up. What is the time frame for the 2X and Pulse?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So in fact, we did the calculation roughly a year ago.
Mhm.
A little bit more than a year ago, we did because we are more than 2 years in development now. And roughly a year ago, we made a calculation and we saw the yield capacity that we can get from the chain as 40-50% APR. Okay, what can we do with that one? That means it's 0.1% per day. How far can that get us? And we figured out it would take probably until 2.5 years, possibly in the worst case scenario. That's not a good idea to launch this protocol. So we invented another feature. These are the system miners that Neil was referring to.
Yeah.
That mitigates from an average 2x obligation down to a 1.5 or 1.3x obligation. Lower the obligation, and then suddenly you're ending up with roughly a year, even with 40%. Now
Right.
we are looking at a blessed situation where we, in average, it depends on a lot of moving parts, many assumptions, of course, but you need to give everything a value somehow. And at the end, we come up now that we have that we are very confident to have at least a 3-digit, probably about above 100 or above 200, even more APR that we can generate sustainably for a while, and that we can even scale that up, even if there's more volume coming in. So that means I will not say any number. I will not say how many months, but probably much more than 1.0 times per year. So
Okay.
possibly twice a year. It depends on many moving parts, but definitely more than once per year.
Yeah. So I think the minimum is kind of the expectation should be set. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, in the worst case, if someone starts compounding and uses several strategies, of course they can tickle out much more. But again, it's a very simple product for the majority of heavy hitters. They are not strategizing a lot. What they want to do is putting their pulse somewhere without jeopardizing slippage or any other risk. Put pulse in, get pulse out, better than storing it in the wallet. And the auction is not a complicated thing. It's basically auction only means it is assigning accounting weight. That's it. Just assigning an accounting weight that the platform has accounting values, and that makes the life easy and simple for everyone and for us and for the platform manageable.
All right. So I think you guys have really explained it quite well all the way through there. I guess for me, you're late launching at the right time in the market for this kind of protocol as well, because the pulse down the bottom, so you can ride all the way up, arguably, right? If we're right about that worldview, right? Which I think we are. So, but the other side of it is that once you've got your mine and once you get to your 2x, you can just rinse and repeat, right? Is that the idea? And you feel pretty confident about that too?
Sure.
Yeah.
They can do whatever they want, really. I mean, there's a lot of options for folks to do those types of things, and maybe even generate more yield so they can get more assets to come back into the protocol if they wanted to. 100% ROI within a 365-day period, well, give or take, is pretty
Mhm.
good
Yeah,
overall.
very good. Yeah, I mean, just park in that, and we're talking volume, of course, regardless of the US price. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And on that note, just with that stuff, RipCity, what's attracted to you? Obviously, we've just gone through that nice overview.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's funny because I was around a year ago, and if you didn't hear what Daniel just said, go back and listen again. Like they were ready a year ago, and
mhm,
something didn't fit right, and they went back to work, and it took them another year to get the product that they have today. And I don't know, the first thing that I was pretty excited when I heard about True DeFi the very first time a year ago, and I was like, geez, I wonder how many people would want to double their pulse with little or no risk.
mhm.
And I was like, that was clear to me. Like everybody, right?
Yeah, yeah,
All you need is proof of concept. Like all you need to be able to do is believe in the code, and that it works. And once that happens, this thing is hell on wheels, man. I'm just, it's very exciting. I don't know how these guys sleep, man. This team is just relentless. They're up like I don't know when Daniel sleeps. He maybe gets 3 hours of sleep a day. Um, it's amazing, man. It's amazing time. Impulse chain, the perfect time. Like if you like you don't have enough pulse, man, and what a great time
yeah,
to go and get it to double it up. So I'm
yeah.
doubling down absolutely on this team.
Yeah, very exciting. All right, cool. Hey, look, I mean, we haven't gone through the UI today, but I'm pretty excited to go there on another show once you guys do launch, and we'll get into that in a minute. We've got a couple comments in the chat as well, so we'll get to that. We got Heroes saying Emmett and Hero are partnered with True DeFi in the IA, which means buy pressure accordingly. Heroes at 20K market right now, so it looks like you got another partner in the house there. So one will not lose any principal, and worst case will gain in one miners, says Hero. Can you early end your miner if so desired? That's a question. So you guys got any comments on that?
Yep, you absolutely can.
Hexecutioner.
Yeah, we even have a function within the system. It has prerequisites with it. We will buy your miner back from you at
Good.
your full 1x as long as you have not compounded, meaning taken pulse out of the miner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And you have to fall between a 0.333x and a 0.888, meaning you haven't even hit your 1x. We prefer that you have not hit your 1x. We'll give you your whole 1x. We'll take your miner from you. You're happy. You can, let's say price goes up and all of a sudden your ROI to 2x is today instead of however long you expected. And then you want to get out and do what you need to do. Well, we give you the availability to do that. We'll give you the whole entire 1x. And then we'll use that miner. We won't end it. We'll use it as a 1x system miner. So
Mhm.
it'll help generate the 2x's for everyone else when you get out. Right. So that's the ebb and flow of a lot of the logic in a lot of ways. Man, those conversations of the logic of how the protocol is reflexive and moves with all the people is a lot longer conversation than we have than we
Sure,
have
sure,
time
sure.
for today. But it gets exciting when you start talking about those types of things. But absolutely, of course, this is DeFi. You need to have the options to do what you want. So we definitely have thought of all those things, especially for all of the members that we have, since we are a service.
Yeah. No, very good. Hero says that's the German determination of getting right first before ever releasing in public. SMOs double them up with True DeFi. Yeah, RipCity. And we've got Vets and Crypto in the house. Big shout out to you. And reposted the stream too as well. I appreciate that. Yeah, so I just want to come back to the system miner again. Can you just explain that a little bit more? It's probably the one thing I just probably under asked there. How does it get its capital? That sort of thing. Yeah.
Neil, I'd like to take this Hexecutioner. If so,
Hey, pull your mic away from your face just a little bit, and then
All
go.
right, thank you.
Let her
That
rip.
was very subtle. Thank you for the subtle info. Uh, um, if you don't have system miners, if you only deal with users, then you have a very high obligation in average. That means you have to serve on a 2x, at 200%. So
Mhm.
that is a lot. It is a very high percentage. That is a obligation. What is extending the time to ROI for everyone very far out. To shorten the time to ROI and to make everything smoother, reliable, sustainable, to bring it in a comfortable level of what you can actually achieve as a platform, what you, with a good conscience, what you can announce, what you can whoop, where you can even calculate with the worst case scenario of 40% APR from outside
Mm.
yield generation. That is where system miners come in. That means that from the 14% that we were talking earlier about,
Yep.
from the SRE, we are taking initially a larger part and later a small part, but that will feed continuously 1x miners until these 1x miners and our partner program miners and other system miners all together have more than 90% of the user on the participation volume. It is more than 90%, and we are targeting less than 10% organic users on the
Yeah.
platform.
Yeah.
That
I
is
really
our
like.
so,
Yeah. That's
and
very much
the
helped drop that one. I think. Yeah.
and the 1x, the stronger the ratio between. Imagine you have $1 million in the contract and obligations to a 1x. That means it's exactly the amount that was put in, and they're
Mm.
out compounding and out of compounding and out of compounding, but they're not cannibalizing the system because they're not taking gains. They're just
Yeah.
out of compounding a zero sum game. On the other hand, you have 100% obligation, meaning a 2x. And if the ratio between users and system miners is in a healthy level, and that can achieved very soon, the
Mm.
average obligation is somewhere between a 1.2 and a 1.8. Somewhere it's up to us how to fly this plane.
Yeah.
And that means the lower the obligation, the higher the income from outside yield generation. That, as a compound effect, will serve a reliable and understandable 2x for everyone who wants it. And we can, yeah, we can focus on flying this plane responsibly.
Okay. Very cool. Now you did mention something in there about partner miners in the system as system miners. So yeah, so tell us a little bit about that because that's something new.
You guys, would you like to talk about it, guys?
You want to take an execution or you want me to do it?
Yeah, I think I was muted. I was muted.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we have a integration amplifier for partners. They can join us. First off, if you are listening to this and after we get through this, if you're interested in doing this, come into our Telegram or even on the Twitter, on our uh, official Twitter, and inform us of that you want to take a part of this. We will have some questions. We want to know about your preferences of the benefits that you want to provide your users, whether you want to have like a claim or a burn. Um, uh, and then there's a couple other things. But let me get to what this thing is, I guess, right? Uh, we have like a referral type of program, and it's kind of rolled in with this integration amplifier, where for the first 45 days for our partners, they will receive a 10% premium allocation of all of the community's deposits that their community has. So they'll get a referral code when they make their deposit. They'll put that referral code in, and then their community will get a 10% premium allocated to them for the first 45 days. And then after that, it'll be 5% that'll be allocated to them forever. So that part of the program will just run forever while everyone else's individuals stops, right? Um, this will includes like future deposits from compounded dividends, and any other deposits that they would make would roll back into building up their availability of outside revenue coming to them. Um, they'll have the way that it works for the miners when they get it into their card. So they'll build up all those premium allocations in a card where it'll start earning up to a 2x for them as well. But we manage those assets for them, where 75% of those assets are auto compounded indefinitely. And then 25% of it is withdrawn and used routinely to market purchase their tokens, right? It's deposited into a claim contract for their holders to access if that's what they want, or it can be burned depending on whatever their tokenomics are, how they like that. Or they could make multiple referrals and have both of those types of things and kind of customize it for their users to choose what they would like for those premium allocations to do for them. This will bring in TVL, steadily increase purchase volume. And since it does this indefinitely, let's say the very first purchase is $1,000. The next purchase that we do, since it's continually growing, it'll be more, and then more, and then more, and then more, and then more. So it will just continually grow, which I think every protocol has that issue of volume that they need to figure out. So we are providing them with a service to be able to fix that, correct that, make them available to have that TVL that they need. And then on top of it, all of their holders or stakers, depending on what they want, will be eligible for free unconditionally to have a weekly availability to claim those tokens or burn them for incentive like rewards. Let's say that in that claim contract, it's for holders, right? So we'll point at the contract, just like when you go to like Pulse Scan and you can see how much of a percentage you are of the holders list. Maybe not everybody knows about it. So maybe not everyone will claim. So only a certain percentage of people may actually claim what's there available. And that'll roll over to the next week and then the next week. So it's you would think that having a claim like that for people might be sell pressure. But if your bag is now bigger, that means that your next week's claim can be bigger too. So it's an incentive to hold. And then those who don't claim because they just aren't aware, it's almost like a burn, right? Because they just sit there in our contract, locked up, not doing anything, not sell pressure any longer. Eventually they could come claim, but when they get the gist of that, I think it would be more of a bullish thing to try to build that even further on their own tokens. We've got what, Daniel, like 25 partners right now looking into already before we even launched.
Roughly,
Something
yeah,
like
I overestimated it yesterday. We have definitely 20, 21, definitely fix by today.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Wow.
But we haven't had a conversation with many that we still have appointments. Yeah.
Mhm.
so it's a unique advantage that gives you the opportunity um,
Well,
to cover.
can I just pause on that moment for a moment? So, the one thing we haven't really talked about is this is multi-chain, right? Is that right?
In the future, no,
Okay.
the partner program is multi-chain,
The partner
right
program.
from the get-go.
Right.
So just to bring some clarity to this, what that was a very good explanation, the Hexecutioner. Thank you. What it actually represents, it is a new tokenomics function. It is not an option. It is not a collaboration between two protocols, what people normally know.
Mhm.
This is a function. Any token platform can decide to have now additional dividend inflow or an intake circuit. So we are interested to increase our um, daily volume. The daily volume is coming, for example, from these partner miners because they are auto compounding until a 1.5x. So whatever was accumulated initially by using a community's link by users is staying in the system. So let's say um, Solana token, any token, Titan X, heck, why not? Titan X says, huh, we would like to burn a little bit from our inflated supply. Okay, good. Or we want to allow our users to claim. Or, for example, PTGC. They allow that community members communicate a partner link from PTGC, for example. They come to us. We have overlapping communities. They're using the platform TRU2X as well as PTGC. And they're choosing to use PTGC as a beneficiary of their deposit. They're not losing anything, especially not after 45 days. So they're using PTGC as a beneficiary. And whatever that benefit is, it will stay in the system. It can never get lower. It is there, it's baked in. And it gets a little bit more every cycle because it's auto compounded until a 1.5x. And
Mhm.
that means that every day there are new deposits being done and all deposits mature. So we are collecting the difference between the 1.5 and the 2x and do exactly what Hexecutioner just said. This is for a partner community like creating a new tokenomics feature that can last perpetually for them and that can make a huge difference in a bear market time, but also in a good market, in a bull market time. It doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Where do you go as a user? Are you choosing a community with dividends where you have dividends? Or are you choosing a community without dividends, a token, right? So this is basically, I think I missed your question to answer your question, your point, but I
Well,
wanted to
I
reiterate
was
it.
leading. I was leading somewhere with my question. As always, but it was it's the fact that it's gonna eventually be a multi-chain, but you're already going to be taking straight from the beginning,
Ac-
project team partners from multi-chain straight away.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
that could be
Definitely multi-chain.
double Titan X projects. They're sitting over 5,000 ETH over in there. So I mean, ETH goes to
Yeah,
10K. It's a pretty valuable
yeah.
system, right? So, um,
We're
all right.
starting.
Multi-chain.
We're just
So
starting with Pulse
you're going
too.
to end up. Sorry, Hex, where do you go?
So we're just starting with Pulse too. This is our technology.
Yeah.
We could do other tokens as long as
Yeah.
the liquidity makes sense. Because as you can tell, we'll be sloshing around quite a bit of funds to the point that we'll exhaust entire protocols.
So
Right?
I guess it's not just EVM chains; it's SVM chains as well. Is right? Yeah. So you guys got quite an expansion story potentially in the future there.
You have two different aspects actually. You have the partner protocol, the IA, the integration amplifier, the tokenomics function for
Hmm.
partners
Hmm.
that is available right from the get go for all chains, EVM, SVM, everywhere.
Hmm.
Theoretically, up to Bitcoin if you want. No, it doesn't make sense currently. Of course, it's not in a healthy ratio, but theoretically, every single chain we can deliver that benefit. But for the 2x itself, we have indeed expansion plans for multi-chain, and as long as we can stay on Pulse chain, we do it in a wrapped version, like wrapped Ethereum, ETH, etc. As long as we can do it here, we do it here, and at some point we have to go to the other chains. But let me just add one more sentence here. We will not be able to expand to the next protocol before 6 months from now.
Hmm.
There's too much optimization,
Sure.
scalability for team expansion. A lot of work needs to be done. And we are watching closely, actually, the technology that will be available for interoperability. How can we actually benefit from interacting on one chain, from one chain, with a dApp on the other chain, like
It's like
Solana, Base,
CCIP is that kind of thing. Yeah. Well, Solana's going to need.
Hyper,
Does that use CCI? I don't know if that uses CCIB, but
exactly.
yeah.
Hyperlane, yes, yes.
Yeah. So where I was heading with the multi-chain is that it's could be quite a big protocol, right? Because you got all these other communities that will jump into it. So it could run away in terms of size. The other thing is that you've got all these partners. You could have a good problem, right? Where you get everybody wants to jump into the damn thing, right? So there could be potentially hundreds of projects just on Pulse Chain alone.
He's getting it, you guys.
So that's kind of the idea, which is great, right? Which is great. And then I guess, getting it for sure. It's pretty awesome. Now, the other thing I was going to say was that you've got the non-partner system miners, and you got the partner system miners. How will that interaction happen? So obviously, you have an explosion in the partner ones versus the system ones. The system one's going to be sort of a base layer amount of mine. I mean, how does that sort of work in terms of your management?
Well, it's just users. I mean, users are all the miners are miners. There's nothing different. They all go through the system, do the same thing. But the users, or organic users, we call them, they will just participate like any other person will. And then we just set the integration amplifier partners. They just run up to a 1.5x, and then auto compound.
So they are different though, right, Nels? Because the other ones are 1x, the system miners, and the partner ones do have up to a 1.5x. So that's what I mean about management. That's trying to get my head around.
Right.
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
right.
you have the average user go to a 2x if they want to. That's a standard, user organic miner. And then we have our system miners only go to a 1x. And then the partner miners, they go to a 2x, but only 1.5 x of that is auto compounded. That 0.5x or 25%, that's what's buying the tokens from the market. So that's how we divide this up. So you asked earlier about uh, the numbers and stuff, how the spread was. When you add all these things up, and then you add outside revenue to it, you end up with a high amount of volume that is in the system for the 1x miners, the partner miners, and then SRE that comes in, and then the users themselves, where we're really pushing a lot of volume so that we can say that, yes, our average obligation is a 1.3, 1.5x, and people's time to 2x is reduced.
Could you please, Neil? Could you please make a screen share? My screen is freezing. To DeFi.io welcome page down where we have the targets.
All right, 1 second.
Coming with the goods. Coming with the goods.
Basically, where the targets are, I would like to respond to this point precisely, because that is a absolute. I mean, you seem to have wrapped your mind around, because that's one of the best questions you could ever ask. How is actually the ratio of partner miners contributing or actually become a burden to versus the system miners? That is a fact. And that's why we have a little bit preload time now during the first 45 days, because people might not use a community to as a beneficiary, but they will try to refer themselves or a friend or whoever. During that time, we can begin to aggressively load up on the system miners, on the 1x miners. The 1x miners need to be at least half of the deposit volume. Partner miners and organic users need to become the maximum, the other half. However, that will never happen, because we will not only have two parts. We have a third part, which is the inflow of external yield per day, and that will become a 2-digit percentage over time, definitely.
Yeah.
And so that is actually what balances out. You have equally partner miners, 2x expectation with organic users. You have equal amount of 1x miners. That's a 1.5x. And now push external yield, and you're ending up with below 1.5x. To be super precise. In other words, we considered that calculation, we made that calculation, and we make sure that while we are flying this plane, we have those ratios absolutely on the screen. It's one of the big amateurs that we are watching.
I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put it up on the screen now. We'll probably cover our faces, but you should be able to hear our voices. So that's probably the main thing.
That was not the thing I was looking for, but
I could
that's
pull it
also
up.
okay.
I tried.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
But
Yeah,
what we
that's
will do is when we do the next show and you go live
yes,
or pre-live show, we can cover all the the UIs and all the data and everything there.
yeah,
So where I was leading with, multi-chain. So here's my perception before we went through this live stream was that you guys are going to be a solid project on Pulse Chain. It was going to be kind of cool. You get a certain amount of participation, but actually what you've laid out is that this is a big project. This could be a big project, and not only Pulse Chain but multi-chain. With the system side of it, I think you really have added in the secret sauce there to make this pretty powerful. Obviously with the investments as well. So yeah, it's changed my mind about the scope of the project quite a bit. As RipCity would say, you get it, you get it, you get it, which is kind of cool. Now, with the partners, you've got a lot of projects out there that once they see it working, it's like I said, you might have a good problem. You get a lot of projects coming up, and I guess that's just part of a management decision about, hey, look, we can include you now or whatever. Are you going to do things like that? Decisions around that?
Everybody.
Yeah, you're just going to take everybody on. Is that at least after the initial phase, you got to get the balance right? Is that fair to say?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's up to them to promote it and propagate it out for the advantages that they have the opportunities to. So it's really up to them to use the referral code as much as they possibly can to,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, it will take on every single project that's ever existed and will ever exist.
Are you agnostic about that, or is there requirements about the project? In other words, maybe there's a few maybe sus issues that you might have with the project. I mean,
I,
how do you have a little bit of a qualification for that?
I think it's more of a not just anyone can come in and say, "Hey, I'm the KOL of this community. Trust me, bro." You know,
Mm-hmm.
like we're gonna vet the people that want these referral numbers codes so that we know that if it's a founder, that's an easy one. You know, uh,
Mm.
but if it's just like I have Hex, so does that make me the qualified KOL for Hex? No,
Yeah.
maybe not. So
Yeah.
yeah, it'll take some vetting for sure. If that answers your question, I think.
And I guess the ultimate would be, as we said, the reinforcement projects, the ones that you're actually investing in to make a yield. If you had them doing it as well, that'd be even more powerful, right? So that'd be an interesting avenue to watch you guys roll out or negotiate or whatever, however it works. But okay, so let's talk a little bit about security with contracts, and of course, what is immutable and what dials you may or may not control. You'll talk about a little bit about that topic. Anybody can
yeah,
step up.
yeah, yeah. Neil normally phrases it much smoother than I do.
Mhm,
Um, uh, in general, this is a 2 year in the grind invention
mhm,
with many tweaks. There is no blueprint to it. There is not. I think out of 7,000 code lines only in the contract, we have 4 lines from Hex.
mhm,
That is the only thing that existed, or that is a relic of existing code. So there is no other code line that exists anywhere on the chain that we copied. So we consider this intellectual property, and it is very hard to get feedback from outside because at this stage of development we got 2 audits earlier, and they helped us developing further and finding where we can find improvements, but we cannot hand it out at this point in time to any auditor who gives us who doesn't deposit 100 million, 200 million dollar in an escrow service before we hand this out to anyone. We need to have assurance that this code is not being mined by anyone, code
Hmm.
mined, and
Hmm.
it's being distributed, and suddenly it pops up in the higher echelon. We build on our security. We have actual real time, real life people sitting. We have more than 8 people watching, monitoring around the world our system, so that we actually can build on it. It became an integral part of a, for some reason it's possible. A corporation is watching, monitoring what is going on our servers to protect us, because we had attempts to read our code from outside, and that was pretty sophisticated.
Hmm.
So we are not allowing that our code can make it anywhere into the nirvana of code trading.
Hmm.
When it comes to publishing the code, yes, we will definitely publish a huge part of it.
Okay.
Not everything,
Hmm.
not everything, but we will definitely publish a part of it. We will also um, need to scale up in our team expansion. It is necessary. So what we need to do is we need to compartmentalize sections of the code so that people can work with it, that we can actually scale up and expand on our development team, which is absolutely important, crucial, and needs to be done in 2026. We cannot keep with a small team anymore.
So you've got security issues around the code that you want to protect. You've got your IP that you want to protect. That's essentially what you're saying. Another
More than that,
more than that,
more
yeah.
than that, more than that, more than
You've
that.
got because another project comes to mind is Axel on Pulse Chain. They kind of got the same position as you, the view there, and it really comes down to the people. You know, I say this on the stream a lot of times that actually there's very little DeFi in crypto. You're always relying on the people, and so if you trust the character of the people, you kind of go on the project, and that's kind of why we're excited to have you guys on, because you guys have all got pretty good reputations, right? So that's kind of where the decision has to be made for people that are going to
Yeah.
participate or not. And I'll leave it there. That's kind of where I feel about that. But
Um,
I was gonna ask you a question following. That's why I asked you in this order. But yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So I just said earlier, I thought it was a much smaller project. I thought it was going to be a good project, but kind of there now. I think that it's actually a very big project, like a very big scale. So it makes me ask the question: Is if you do get enough capital through this, I don't know where you think it could go to. Maybe you could answer that, and then I'll ask my next question. How big do you think this might be able to get, just as a blue sky?
I mean,
Mm,
it can be as big as we want to make it. It's all about development and focus. What we see the needs in the market, right? What does the market need? What this technology that we've developed? How can we utilize it uh, to fulfill service as a service provider, fulfill the needs of DeFi? And
Mhm.
this is just one of the many things we'll be developing. This is not the only thing. So this is just one aspect of several that will eventually come up with some other stuff. And what that is, we don't even know yet. We're still brainstorming things that we can do. So as we go multi-chain and use like things like wrap ETH and stuff like that, that's a lot more volume and or dollar value too, which will basically free us up to make those decisions and then see how we can develop, because technology changes all the time. There may be something else that comes out that somebody's developed that we could use or utilize or even invent more things as we move forward.
All right.
yes,
So yeah, now we haven't talked about the I think it's the 6%, was it, for the team development and everything else. Does that include obviously, does that around software development, team management, portfolio management? Does it include promotions, things like that in it? Is that what essentially is in there?
mainly marketing, and to pay
Okay.
for expenses. Yeah,
Okay.
of course the team is also earning from it, but it's our salary, partially, but
So
the majority is for marketing and expenses, especially what I just said about the security.
mhm,
Security is so expensive, and we are on such a high crucial level. We have to pay right now. We have 8 people in a data center in a corporation that is controlling what our server is doing, what's going on our server live as we speak,
wow.
so we can code. So that these parts are crucial important expenses, but they are heavy expenses.
Mhm.
So I wanted to add, yeah, we love first principles. I wanted to add this from before. We love the first principles. We love DeFi. That's why we're here. On the other hand, those people in crypto who pay attention, or who for whom it is important that everything is immutable, these are less than 2%. So when we are, as long as we understand we are in capitalism, we are serving 98% of people who actually don't care where it comes from,
Yeah.
as long as you said the team is integer and does everything with good intentions. And
Mhm.
2 years of development speaks for itself.
Well, it's like a good friend, right? You get a good friend, and they're willing to do some stuff, perhaps. Now, what I was going to
Yes.
say was the reason why I was leading that way, how big you think it might get, and obviously that's an open question. But given the fact that I think you actually, as you guys already know, you're building something quite big, quite an investable project. Are you thinking about anything like potentially, SEC, Nasdaq listing kind of things? Is that something in your preview potentially?
We know it might not be avoidable, but if we find a way to avoid it, we will avoid it.
Mm.
However, we are aware that probably founding a company body around it might be necessary at some point in the future. We're definitely making 5 year, 10 year, 15-year plans. That's what we have in our board meetings. These are part of our internal roadmaps. We consider that step, but nobody of us wants to go back actually to that
Yeah.
corporate
Okay. So you're going to keep it
structure.
full DeFi project, but no link into traditional markets. The reason why I raise it because you might recall the Hex Investment Trust was going down that route, and I think some of the criteria that they needed to meet was something like $10 million and a certain amount of holders or something. I can't remember the exact number, but so I was just wondering whether you guys were thinking about that, given you're kind of in that you're building that kind of investment product, really.
There will be implications at the end of this process after even 2 years.
Yeah.
That will be that significant, that we need to meet the requirements of many regulators. We cannot sneak out of that.
Mhm.
At the moment, we can say, "Oh, it's just a DeFi product. It's only the code and the user." Oh, yeah, we can say this for now. But I'm a European. If I ever want to go back to Europe, there needs to be a license for this DeFi project. There
Yeah.
needs to be a certain corporate or body behind it at some point, and we consider that to protect user deposits, to protect the business concept itself, and also to have a copyright at some point in time to justify all these points. Yes, we have to consider setting up a company structure around it, but not
Yeah.
immediately.
Okay. Well, we've talked about multi-chain, potential future there coming up, and we've talked about multi-chain project teams becoming miners as well. We've talked about the potential for a new project coming up 6 months plus. Is there anything else in the roadmap that in terms of a roadmap forward from the existing product, that you guys maybe I'll talk about at the moment that you might be doing or not?
There's a ton of things, but all I want to say before I give the word, please, to our um, streamers, whoever listens to this, don't dismiss it as something you believe you know what it is. It is something else. It is different. Please do yourself the favor. Try to understand what's behind that whole concept, why it's possible, why we are doing this, why we really put that much effort in it. It is something new. And if you understand it, you will shine as a brilliant mind, and possibly it pays out. If you decide not to participate, forget about it. All good. We can be friends, but please make sure that you know what it is. That is crucial. So
Yeah.
that's all I want to call for.
All right. On that note, I've just got two more questions, and we'll get to a couple of comments, and then we'll probably wrap up. But just on that, Daniel, which is a great way to sort of towards the end there. What are some of the key things that you want people to as a takeaway from this that makes TRU2X that's going to be launching soon different?
To me, again.
Any of you guys can answer it. You're the same person.
Hexecutioner, Neil, Rip, AJ, please.
Yep. Anybody?
All right. So, it's a simple process, 4 steps to get a 2X. There's no platform token to purchase.
Mhm.
There was no sacrifice either. So all this is self-funded we're doing. So we have, after over 2 years of development, we're about to release this product. It's new, it's innovative, and it will be something that does change the DeFi landscape. And it's launched on Pulse Chain first. So all the Pulse kids can say that we were here first, and this changed our lives and how we deal with DeFi and how we understand and look at yield production, especially without any impermanent loss or trading risk.
Fantastic. Hexecutioner, you got anything to add to that?
Well, there's nothing out there like this. Nothing exists out there like this. So it's really kind of tough to pinpoint without just going over everything again, pretty much. I mean, because it's absolutely unique. Like I said, when you get into the logic of the things, other than, it is that simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. Deposit, deploy your pulse, wait for a 2X, get out and have fun with your money, right? Do it again if you want. Easy. But the logic of it behind it with the system miners, the partners, and everybody else, us being able to expand, finding out unique, purposeful things that will help build more community availability of being successful for all people involved. It's a benevolence that's addicting. It's attractive. It's fun, and we're all located across the world, so we can cover 24 hours, pretty much. So we're always available to answer questions. It's different. It's different, man. So it's tough to pinpoint it down.
I liked your word there, addictive. So I thought that was kind of a cool thing. RipCity, you got any? You've obviously been attracted to this big time. Any couple of highlights?
I do. And I was like, Daniel, I was going to say what Daniel said, and then I was going to say what Hexy said. Yeah, it's like, dude, keep it simple. Like it can be as simple as you want or as complicated as you want. Many are going to miss day one, but we will prove the concept. It does work. We did have 20 people in the validation phase. We didn't call it a testing phase because the testing's been going on for 2 years.
Right.
This was a validation phase. There was 20 of us in there. The product works. It does what it's supposed to do. You can learn as much as you want. But, Hexy said it. You can come in, make your deposit, deploy your miner, and wait. That's pretty simple. And and if you want to get into compounding, the eighth wonder of the world, then you'll dig a little further. Come into chat. We're there all day, every day. We've got Daniel's in the Philippines, so he's 13, 16 hours ahead of us. So we have that global impact. If you want to come in and learn, we're there, and we've got some pretty good people in the chat. So yeah.
Fantastic. Now I've got one more question left, but we're going to go to the chat quickly. And we've got Queen Pooey in the house. Big shout out. Secret. I think she's talking about the partnership ones there. I think it was. What's up, TRU2X there from Red Ray. Frank Fry in the house there. Lol, there is an angry chicken in the background. Yeah, we heard that before, which is funny. I remember Daniel was going to say something. I think it was in Daniel's. Is it Daniel? Yeah. He was going to say something. Yeah. I want to say something, and then it crowed. Yeah. Sound quality is good. I appreciate that. And what's the SMO? That will be me soon. I guess you're talking about participating, maybe quite a little bit further back in the chat. Striker Auto Compound is the eighth wonder of the world. Yep, the backing on what you said, RipCity there. People often associate Einstein, don't they? Although I'm not sure if that is 100% accurate. But we got what is the link? Well, we'll get to that in a minute. That's the next question. So we're going to talk about that. Queen Pooh says, sounds like there's nothing left but to launch and improve the protocol. And Queen Pooh says, day one, deposit the Mucho Grandes. Day two, deploy the miner. And SMO, we are so ready indeed. So talking about ready, any idea about the launch phase or launch window for TRU2X? Any indications there? You can give us a 2 weeks, or you can give us a pre-Christmas, whatever it's going to be. Let us.
Wait.
So we have a launch date.
Less than 2 weeks,
We have a
right?
launch date. We have a
Okay.
launch date.
Wait.
And we don't.
Wait. It's coming. It's coming. Here we are. Drum roll.
Is yet to be confirmed.
What's that? Yeah.
No, is yet to be announced.
Okay.
So
Sweet.
we have a launch date internally, which
Yep.
is well before Christmas,
Okay.
a handful of days before Christmas.
We've got about 2 weeks ahead of us, so somewhere in there, it's coming.
If it's true, it's a week.
Oh, could
Roughly.
be a week. Okay, very
What
cool.
do we have today? 12th. Today is the 12th over here on our,
Yeah.
in our hemisphere. Yeah, it's the 12th. So roughly a week. So that is basically what we are targeting. But there is still one methodology of one particular stress test, which yet needs to confirm the readiness.
Okay.
We are confident, but there can be tweaks necessary. There can be something necessary where we say, nope, we're gonna work this out through over Christmas, and then we set a new date.
Okay.
That's why we are hesitant with the actual launch date announcement. Probably from the day that we know that we are ready until the targeted launch date might be only 2 or 3 days.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah.
as early as 3 or 4 days, maybe a week, unless the contingency happens. Yeah. All right. We've got
Roughly a
Frank,
week out.
Yeah, roughly a week,
Yeah.
guys. So you all hear it. And before Christmas is less than 2 weeks. Yeah. Queen Pui, we need more pulse. Now that's what I was going to say. So if you guys want to get ready for this, if you're not already sitting on a bag of pulse to put into it, then you're going to need to buy some. And good news for you, pulse is on. So pick up as much as you can. Now, obviously, do your own due diligence. Nothing financial advice, all that good stuff as usual. And big shout out to the team. You guys have done an amazing job of explaining it during this live stream. And I went from zero to at least partial knowledge now. No, probably pretty decent knowledge of the
Zero to
overview.
hero.
Zero to hero. That's what Richard would say. Zero to hero. And I think he stole it from Telegram. So
Yeah.
it is the way to go. Final words from the team about the project. Now we are going to get you back on to do for the when you actually go live somewhere around that ballpark and go to the UI user interface and how it works, physically and all the rest of it. But final words for the show today.
Don't miss day one.
Yeah.
If you do, that'll make everyone who deposited on day one very happy. Day two is just as good. This is not a PvP protocol, so you can go in with the mindset that you've got the leading edge against everyone else, and then when you realize that all day oneers got their 2x on the same day, all day twoers that deposit gets their 2x on the same day. If you go in on day 17, you'll be in the day 17 day group, and they'll all get their 2x on the same day. So we have a lot of PvP stuff. We're not about that. We want to be able to grow, build, grow, and succeed.
All right, so I think that's everybody. Really exciting, guys. Looking forward to it. You've turned me into a believer, not just a believer, but a believer in TRU2X, and look forward to more stuff coming out from you guys. Now, if you guys haven't seen, they were profiled in the Monster thread for the current week, Monster number 31, so you can find out more details there. But ultimately, you want to get into the Telegram and ask questions. That's what the best thing to do. So I'm going to post the link to their to TRU2X there on X. You'll be able to find all the Telegram as well. I'll pull it up and post it in there also. But do join up to the socials. If you've got more questions, nothing better than asking the team and becoming part of the community. So that is the X count there for True DeFi. So join up today. And that is also the Telegram. And that's really, the heart of community. So get into the Telegram there and ask away. Lots of resources in there too, no doubt. Which is pretty cool. All right, I will post that also on X under the stream as well after the video, so you guys can check it out there. All right, thanks guys. We're going to bounce now, but great stream, and
thanks for having us.
Next one. Cheers.
Excellent host. Thank you.
Right
Appreciate
back.
it, man.